This conference will now be recorded.
In the DAX functions, so far we discussed about two categories of DAX functions. One is text functions, second one is logical functions. And in that list, what is the third category of functions we have is what is the third category of functions we have is date and time functions. In today's class, we'll start with date and time functions. In the list of functions, we'll start with date and time functions. Let me copy paste the date and time functions here. Date and time functions, important category of functions. Already I copied it. In the date and time functions, first function we will be discussing about is what? Calendar function. So far, we discussed when to derive the columns and when to derive the measures. There are sometimes we need to derive the tables also. In the Power Pivot, how many types of new information will create? Three types. One is what? Columns. Second one is what? Measures. Third one is what? Tables. So we know already when to create the columns, how to create the columns. We already understand when to create measures and how to create the measures. Today we'll discuss about a scenario when to create the tables. When to create the tables. One important table in the Power Pivot is a date dimension table. Which table? Date dimension table. Right. Let's try to understand. My client provided the orders table to me, Excel sample superstore. They provided an orders table, or you can even bring three tables. They provided these three tables. Few of the tables I need to transform the data. I'm going to Power Query and click on use first choice header. Use first choice header, close and apply. Once after providing these three tables, my client is asking to show year-wise sales and year-over-year growth. Let loads these three tables. Once after loading the three tables, we can view the relationships. Go to the model view. If there is any missing relationship between the tables, establish the relationships. Once you establish the relationships, you can just use these tables for creating what? Reports or visuals. My client is asking to create one visual here where they're asking to show year-wise sales and year-over-year growth. Year-wise sales, I have a order date column and I have a sales column. Using order date column and sales column, they're asking to show year-wise sales. To show year-wise sales, take one visual, go to the orders table, go to the order date. In the order date, you'll have year, drag the year, and you'll have sales here, drag the sales. I'm able to show comfortably year-wise sales. Along with the year-wise sales, my client is asking to show percentage year-over-year growth. So percentage year-over-year growth is a new information which is not readily available in which table? Orders table. When I go and check the orders table, you don't find an information called what? Percentage year-over-year growth. So let's say 2016 growth, if I want to calculate, what is the formula is current year sales minus previous year sales divided by previous year sales is the growth formula. Current year sales for 2016 means 2016 sales. Previous year sales for 2016 means what? 2015 sales divided by previous year sales means what? 2015 sales. So it will give the growth. Growth means when compared to last year, this year, how much more percentage we are doing? More percentage sales we are doing, we call it as growth. Percentage growth. So it's a common analysis. If you want to evaluate your business when compared to last year, this year, how good you are doing the business. If you want to evaluate, you need to calculate this year-over-year growth. Right. So percentage year-over-year growth is a new information commonly client will ask us to show in the visuals. It's a new information. Commonly, clients will ask us to show in the visuals. What is the formula I'm telling for year over year growth? Current year sales minus previous year sales divided by previous year sales. So here,
Sorry, sir,
if
sorry
you
to
if you
interrupt.
want to derive
My
the if you want to derive the growth, first you need to have current year sales and you need to have what? Previous year sales. Then you can derive what? Growth. So how to write the formula for getting the current year sales is when I go and create any measure, select the orders table, I'll create a measure. Any name you can give it. The measure name I can give is current year sales or sum of sales, sum of sales or current year sales. When I take sum function, when I pass the sales column, when I use this measure separately, it will show complete sales. When I go and use the measure separately, when I go and take one card visual, not this, a new visual card visual, into the card visual, when I drag the measure which I calculated now, it will give the complete 4-year sales. How many years you have? 4 years. By default, it will give 4-year sales. But when the same measure sum of sales, when the same measure when you drag it here, it will show what sales? Year-wise sales. We know that measure will work on which context? Filter context. Measure will work on filter context. When you drag the same measure here, this sales is belongs to which year? 2014. This sales belongs to which year? 2015. When you create a measure, measure will work on filter context. Now you understand how to get the current year sales. To get the current year sales, you just need to write the formula called sum of sales. So it will work on filter context. Okay, you got the current year sales. In order to get the growth, what else you need? You need a previous year sales formula also. How to write the previous year sales formula is to write the previous year sales formula. There is a category of functions called time intelligence functions. In the time intelligence functions, there is a function with the name called previous year, which will give the previous year sales. You don't bother about this function. I'll discuss about the time intelligence functions for 1 hour of time in the future classes, in the coming classes, 2-3 classes. For now, to derive the previous year sales, I want to create another measure here. Click on new measure. The measure name is previous year sales. In order to get the previous year sales, the formula is calculate. You don't bother about this formula. Now there is no doubt you will not understand this formula, but just so this is the formula to get the previous year sales. I'm writing calculate. What I need to calculate is sum of sales. For what I need to calculate sum of sales is previous year. For previous year, you need to pass the date column. Based on which date column I need to calculate previous year sales means order date. Based on what? Order date. I'm passing the order date. I'll close the bracket. I'll run the formula. So you don't bother about this formula, what it will do. In the coming classes, clearly I'll discuss what this calculate function will do, what previous year function will do. For now, calculate sum of sales for previous year. It will calculate previous year sales generally. When I go and drag this formula here, this formula will not give any results. Is it giving any result here? No. So why it is not giving the result means the formula is, there is no doubt the formula is correct. Only the problem is with the date column. The date column which I passed here, it is creating the formula problem. So what it is I'll write few points here. Understand this for of time. I'm using a previous year time intelligence function. Time intelligence means doing the calculation over a period of dates. Previous year means last year 365 days. Last year 365 days. Whenever we need to perform a calculation on group of dates, you need to use a category of functions called what? Time intelligence functions. Every time intelligence function will need a date column to perform what? Calculation. Total MTD is one time intelligence function. You need to pass one date column to perform the calculation. Previous day is one time intelligence function. You need to pass one date column to perform the calculation. Previous quarter is one time intelligence function. Must and should, you need to pass one date column to perform the calculation. Same way, previous year is also one time intelligence function. You need to pass the date column. So, okay, it need a date column. You pass the which date column here? Order date. But the problem is, okay, it need a date column, but this date column should satisfy three conditions. The date column which you are going to pass, it should satisfy what? Three conditions. It should contains what values? Unique values. It should contains no null values. It should contains continuous dates. Then only you'll get what? Accurate results. If any one of this condition is not satisfying, you will not get what? Accurate results. Now, my time intelligence function previous year sales is not giving the result, not accurate, giving accurate results. What might be the problem? It is not giving the accurate results is the problem is the order date column which you pass is not satisfying the three conditions. If you go and check the order date column, do you have unique values here? April 19 is there for multiple times. That means you have what values here? Duplicate. First condition is not satisfying. Second condition is what? No null values. If there is any null values, it will show on the top like null. Do you have any null values in the order date? No. Second condition is satisfying. First condition is not satisfying. What is the third condition? Continuous date values. If you go and check January 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, what is missing here? 8th, 9, 10, 11, what is missing here? 12. Do you have continuous dates in that column? No. Out of three conditions, how many conditions it is not satisfying? Two conditions. It is satisfying only one condition. If any one condition is not satisfying, you will not get what? Accurate results. That is the problem here. Then where you can find a date column which will satisfy the three conditions is never order date columns, ship date columns, transaction date columns. They never satisfy three conditions. So then where you can find a date column which will satisfy the three conditions is you will find a date column in a table called what? Date dimension table which will satisfy above three conditions. Understand an important point. Whenever we need to perform any time intelligence analysis in the project, percentage year over year sales, percentage quarter over quarter growth, quarter over quarter growth, quarter over quarter growth means what? When compared to last quarter, this quarter, how much more we are doing? Whenever I need to perform month over month growth, when compared to last month, this month, how much growth? All this comes under time intelligence analysis. Why? Because all this deals with group of rows. Current month, last month means what? Last month 30 days. So whenever you are performing a calculation on group of days, we call it as time intelligence analysis. So whenever we need to perform time intelligence analysis in the projects, the date columns which will be there in the transaction tables, they will not satisfy the three conditions. In that case, you need to have one date column which will satisfy the three conditions. Where you can find that date column is in a table called what? Date dimension table. So this date dimension table, sometimes clients will provide for you in the sources. However, client is providing the orders table. However, client is providing the tables in the sources. They will even provide what? Date table also. When client provided the date table, you will bring the date table. You will use the date table for performing what analysis? Time intelligence analysis. Sometimes clients will not provide the date table in the sources. Power BI developer need to create a date table in where? PowerPoint. In PowerPoint. First, I'll show you a scenario. Let's say your client provided the date table in the source. I'll show you how to bring the date table, how to perform what? Time intelligence analysis. So my client provided date table in the Excel. Along with these three tables, I want to even bring the date table. How to bring the date table is it is there in the Excel. What I can do? Get data, Excel, PowerPoint, PowerPoint source files. There is one Excel file with the name called what? Date dimension. Click on open. In that Excel file, there is one table called dim underscore date. Dim means dimension table. Dimension table. Click on load. So as soon as you bring the date table, go and check this date table. In the date table, you will have first column, date column, which will satisfy the three conditions. So do you find any duplicate values here? No. Do you find any null values here? No. Do you find any gaps between the dates? No. So manually going and checking the three conditions is difficult, right? So what is the way you can check the three conditions is there is a way. How can you check the three conditions is to check the three conditions, you need to mark the table as what? Date table. Mark as date table. To make DAX time intelligence functions work properly, so mark the date table as mark as date table. So what is the meaning is manually going and checking whether the date column is satisfying the three conditions or not is not possible. There is a chance that there will be missing dates. So to check that, what you can do is go to the model view, right click on the dim date table. There is an option called what? Mark as date table. When I go and click on mark as date table, So you want to select in the date table which column will satisfy the three conditions. Which column? Date column. When I give the date column, it is giving the message called validated successfully. Validated means it contains unique values, it contains no null values, it contains continuous dates. Then only you'll get a message called what? Validated successfully. If you look at here, I'll go to the orders table, I'll mark this as date table, and I'll select a column called order date column. Is it validated successfully now? No, it is not validated. Order date. What it is telling? Date column must have what? Unique values. That means order date column does not have what? Unique values. Date column cannot have what? Gaps. It doesn't have what? Continuous dates. Out of three conditions, it is not satisfying what? Two conditions. So to check the three conditions automatically, what you need to do? Mark as date table. Mark as date table. To make the DAX time intelligence functions work properly, set the date dimension table as mark as date table, guys. Okay. Now, as soon as you bring the date table, as soon as you bring the orders table, if you want to show year wise sales, always year you need to take from date table, guys. Always year you need to take from which table? Date table. As soon as in Power Pivot, if you have date table, any date column you want to show in the visual, you need to take from which table? Date table only. Sales column you need to take from which table? Orders table. If you want to create the visual using these two tables, what you need to have? Relationships. So I want to show year wise sales based on which column here? In this, I'm planning to create a visual. We are telling that year we need to take it from date table, sales we need to take it from orders table. I want to show year wise sales based on order date or ship date? Order date. So you need to give the relationship based on what? Date and order date. What is the common column here? Date and order date. Why? Because I need to create the visual using what? Order date. Now, when I go and take year from here, when I go and take sales from here, it will show year wise sales based on what? Order date or what? Order date. So I'll just go and take one visual. I said that when I have a date table, I need to take the date column from date table. I need to take the sales column from orders table. It will show year wise sales based on order date. Now you have current year sales. Current year sales you have it. So you, even when you drag it, it will show current year sales. It is a implicit measure. It is a explicit measure. Both will show same results. How to get the previous year sales is, you already written the formula, you need to make some change in the formula for previous year sales. In
This
previously
conference
in
will
the
now
previous
be
year
recorded.
sales, previously you passed which column here? Order date. So order date is not the right column here. When you pass the order date, are you getting previous year sales? No. Instead of order date, which date column you need to pass? Dim date of date. Dim date of date. Let me redefine this formula. Same. Calculate. What I need to calculate? Sum of sales. What is the date column? See here, to the calculate function, you need to calculate sum of sales and you need to write the filter condition. Here, previous year function. To the previous year function, what you need to pass? Date column. What is the date column? Is dim date of date. Dim date of date. This formula you will understand again one more time when I start the time intelligence function. So for now, just your goal is, for now you just need to understand what is the importance of what? Date dimension table. Remaining all I will discuss one more time. Right. Now, when I calculate the previous year sales, when I go and drag this previous year sales, now it will show correctly. It will show correctly. So for 2015 previous year sales is 4,84,000. 2015 previous year is what? 2014. 2014 sales is how much? 4,84,000. Is it showing same number here? Yes. For 2016 sales is this. For 2016 previous year was 2015. Is it the 2015 sales? Yes, 4,70,000. 2015 sales. You have current year sales. You have previous year sales. Can I write the growth formula now? Yes. What is the growth formula? Just select the orders table. Growth is nothing but some percentage. In order to derive the percentages, what you need to create? Measure. Percentage deals with group of rows. So I can just give the name as percentage year over year, year over year growth or sales, whatever it is. So here, to get the percentage year over year growth, you need to write a formula, guys. First, I will use one function called divide function. There is a function called what? Divide. To the divide function, you need to pass numerator comma denominator. Here, what is the numerator here? Current year sales minus previous year sales. This complete is numerator. Denominator is what? Previous year sales. You just pass. Already you created a measure to get current year sales, sum of sales. Already you created a measure to get the previous year sales, PY sales. Divided by what? PY sales, previous year sales. Close the bracket and run the formula. Whenever you are calculating the measures, you need to multiply that result with 100. What is the other easiest way to multiply with 100 is select the measure, go to the measure tools, click on what? Percentage symbol. When I click on percentage symbol, it will multiply that result with 100. Now when I go and drag it here, it is telling that 2015 is you are doing, when compared to previous year, you are doing minus 2.83% less. 2015 is doing how much sales? 4 lakh 70. When compared to 2014, 2014 is doing how much sales? 484. When compared to 484, 470 is less or more? Less. How much less? That means you are doing bad in which year? 2015 year. When it comes to 2016 year, my sales is 609. So when compared to previous year, it is 4 lakh 17. When compared to 4 lakh 70 is 6 lakhs 9,000 is more. How much percentage more it is? That means you are really doing good in the 2016 year, right? Like this, to perform any time intelligence analysis in the project, one mandatory table in Power Pivot model is what table? Dim date table. So as I said that sometimes clients will provide the date table in the sources, we can bring it and we can use it. How to use it, I shown it. There are sometimes this date table your client will not provide in the sources. When client is not providing, when they're asking to show time intelligence analysis here, must and should, you need to go and create that table. You need to create that table. Now I'll show you how to create that table. So first I'll go and delete this year over year growth. First delete this visual and I'll delete year over year growth, and then I'll delete previous year sales, and then I'll go and delete date table. Now my client is asking to show, uh, my client provided these three tables and they're asking to show year wise sales and year over year growth. Is it possible to show with these three tables? Year wise sales and percentage year over year growth. Client is asking to create one visual. Tell me with these three tables, can I show this result? No. In order to show year over year growth, must and should you need to have along with the orders table, what table is required? Date table. Unfortunately, this time my client is not provided the date table in the sources. When they don't provide in the sources, what you need to do is you need to create a date table. How to create a date table is, to create a date table, there is a function called what? Calendar function. There is a function called calendar function. First, first date function I am going to discuss is about a function called what? Calendar. Calendar. Right. So what is the purpose of the calendar function is it will create a table. So in order to create a, in the Power Pivot, in order to create columns, you will use which option? New column. In order to create measure, which option? New measure. In order to create table, which option here? New table. When I click on new table, so you need to give what first? Table name. So what is the table name generally will give is, some people will give just date. Some people will give the table name as just time. Some people will give the table name as dim underscore date. So better to have dim underscore date. Why? Because it's a dimension table, date table. Here, in order to create a table, you need to use a function called calendar function. There is a function with the name called calendar. To the calendar function, how many arguments you need to pass? Start date and end date, two arguments. When you pass the start date and end date, what that calendar function will do is returns a table with one column of all the dates between start date and end date. Calendar function will return one table. The table will have how many columns? Only one column. What is the name of the column is date, and what that column will contains is dates from start date and end date. Whatever the start date and whatever the end date you are passing, starting from that date till end date, for every date one date value you will get it, one date value. So here, what is the start date you need to pass here? Okay, calendar function, I need to pass the start date. What is the start date we need to pass here? How long you need to from what date you need to analyze the data, that start date you need to pass it. In orders table we have data starting from which year? 2014. 2014 starting date will be the start date. What is it? 2014 starting date you need to give it. So here you are writing this formula using which language? DAX language. DAX language will have some default date format. Default date format. See, some in some languages default date format is DD, MM, YY. In some languages default date format is MM, DD, YY. So in some languages, let's say if you take Oracle, what is the default date format? DD, MON, YY. YY. So language to language, the default date format might change. Here in the DAX language also, you need to pass the date in the proper date format. So remembering the date format is not easy. So language to language, the date formats will be different. So if you don't remember the date format, the easy way to pass the date is in the date and time functions. There is one function with the name called what? Date. To the date function, you can pass year, month, day, separately, and it will convert into what? Date. So here what I'll do is instead of remembering what date format I need to pass, instead of passing the date format start date, I can use date function. Date function, what you need to pass? Year. From which year you need? 14. 2014. Which month means January month. Day means starting of that day. So you need to give start date of that year. This is my start date, comma. So then what you need to pass now? End date. So end date means what end date you need to pass? In the orders table, currently we have data till 2014 to 2017. So generally the end date you need to pass 31st December 2017. But this is not the date you need to pass. End date always you need to pass future date. What? Future date. Why? Because so now in the orders table you have data till 2017 only. Tomorrow when there is any new data entered in the Excel, we will click on refresh. We'll bring the new data to which table? Orders table. When you get the new data to the orders table, then this date table need to support. If you give 2017 here, the date table will support till which year? Only 2017. In the future, any new data is coming to this orders table, this table will not support. You need to design this table in such a way it need to support future data also. That is the reason we need to give end date as what? Future date. How long you will use these reports? The date you need to give. Let's say I'm planning to use these reports till which year? 2025. Must and should you need to give the complete date range of 2025. What is the date range of 2025? 12 31st. 2025 12th month 31st. Close the bracket, run this. When you run this, dim date function will create one table, and the table contains how many columns? Date column, one date, one column. It will contains date starting from this date till end date, for each date one date. Now tell me, this date column will satisfy three conditions. Will it have unique values, no null values, continuous dates? Yes, these three conditions it will satisfy, right? Now what you can do is, as soon as you create the date table, you can mark it as date table. Right click on it. What you can do? Mark as date table. What is the column? Date. Surely it will validate, right? Okay. Now client is asking to show year wise sales. I said that in order to show year wise sales, you need to take the year column from dim date, you need to take the sales column from orders table. Do you have any year column now in the date table? Means you don't have it, you need to derive it. How to derive the year column is, select the dim date, click on new column. For every row I need one value, click on new column. What I need to derive here is what? Year. To derive the year, there is a DAX function with the name called year, guys. There is a DAX function with the name called what? Year. You can just take the year function, and to the year function you can pass date column from where you need to derive the year. Which date column here? Dim date of date. Dim date of date. When I close the bracket, when I run this, it will give the year. Now when I want to create the visual using these two tables, what you need to establish here? Relationship. You need to show year wise sales based on what? Order date. You just select the order date, drag and drop on date. Now just tell me, can I show year wise sales and year over year growth now? Yes, you can comfortably show. I can take the year column from date table. I can take the sum of sales from orders table. It is showing year wise sales. How to get previous year sales? You need to create a measure. Select the orders table. Click on new measure. What is the formula we written for previous year sales is? So you can go to next line to write the formula. Shift enter and calculate function. What we need to calculate is sum of sales for previous year. And what is the date column I need to pass is the date column which we derived now. Dim underscore date, close the bracket and run this formula. Will it give previous year sales? Yes. When I go and drag it, you'll get the previous year sales. Now can I get the growth? Yes. Select the orders table, click on what? New measure and percentage year over year growth. To get percentage year over year growth, what you can write? Divide. To get the current year sales, we written a formula called sum of sales, previous year sales divided by previous year sales. You need to multiply this result with 100. To multiply it, select the measure, click on percentage. When I go and drag this, you can get the year over year growth, right? Like this, we need to create a date table using calendar function. We need to show the results. Let's take an example. You got the orders table, got new data. In my source, orders table got some new data. In the sample superstore, let's add one new record here. I'm adding one extra record and I'll just go and change the date to 2027. What date? 2027. You have the data 2027. To get that new data to this orders table, what you need to do? Refresh. When I click on refresh, will it show 2027 data in the visual which I created? No, it will not show. Why? You have the data till 2025 only. It is not showing. Yes or no? It's not showing. Why it is not showing is while creating this date table, you given the end date as what? 2025. So again, if you want to see the 2027 data, you need to go and change this end date to another future date called what? 2030 or something. You need to manually come and change it. Every time manually coming. Now when I change it to 2030, till how many years you will have data? 2030. Now will the visual will show the data? Yes, it will show. Is it showing or not? Yes. So here, every time coming and changing the values is not possible, right? So there is a second way. You can even create the date table not only with calendar function, you can even create the date table with what? Calendar auto function also. Understand an important point. I'll remove this record one more time. I'll remove this record one more time, which I added now. I'll save this. I'll refresh it. I need to design the date table in such a way. I need to design the date table in such a way. Even tomorrow, when there is any records getting on 2027 or 2030, I still need to show it. In that case, you might ask, why don't you give a future date called 2100? When you give it, you don't want to look for 70 years, right? But the problem is, what is the problem? Table size will drastically increase. So, how many records you have now? 6,000. When I go and give 2100, how many records you will get? 31,000. It will unnecessarily waste what? Space in the Power Pivot again. So instead of that, what you can do is, I said that we can not only create the date table using calendar function, we can even create using a calendar auto function. This time I'll choose calendar auto function. What is the advantage? You will understand. Calendar auto function, you no need to pass start date, you no need to pass end date. So calendar auto function, how many arguments are there? Fiscal year end month. That argument is also there in where? Square bracket. That means it is what? Optional. Optional. So I'll talk about this fiscal year end month. So calendar auto function, no need to pass start date and end date. No need to pass any argument. You can open the bracket, you can close the bracket. It can calculate automatically start date and end date. So read the what calendar auto function will do. Calendar auto function also returns what? Table with how many columns? One column. What is the name of that column? Again date. And the dates will be calculated from the model automatically. Previously, we need to give the start date, we need to give the end date. Based on the dates, it will calculate the dates. But this time what? Automatically. So calendar auto function have intelligence to take the start date and end date. I will tell you how calendar auto function will take the start date, how calendar auto function will take the end date. What the calendar auto function will do is, calendar auto function will read all the tables in the Power Pivot. Now currently in the Power Pivot, how many tables you have is, leave it about date table. Except the date table, how many tables you have? Three tables. This calendar auto function will read the T tables. In the three tables, it will identify the date columns. Date columns are available in which table? Orders table. How many date columns are there? Two. One is order date, second one is what? Ship date. In the date columns, it will identify the lease date. Tell me, in the order date you will find lease date or ship date you will find lease date? Order date. First order need to be placed, then it need to be shipped. Lease date will be available in order date column. What is the lease date you have in the order date column? Jan 3rd, 2014. It will not take Jan 3rd, 2014. From that lease date, it will take only year. That year starting date will be the start date case. So calendar auto function, how it will calculate start date means calendar auto function will read all the tables in the Power Pivot. 33 tables if you have 3 tables. Even if you have 10 tables, it will read all the 10 tables. In the tables, what it will identify? Date columns. In the tables, what it will identify? Date columns. From the date, it will take which date? Lease date. From that lease date, what it will take? Year. That year starting date will be the start date. Right. Now, so calendar auto function, what is the start date it is taking is 1st January 2014. Why it is 1st January 2014 means? The least date is what? 3rd January 2014. It is taking 2014, that starting date. And how it will calculate end date is same again. Calendar auto function again read the tables. Again it will identify what columns? Date columns. This time it will not take lease date, it will take what? Max date. Max date will be available in which column? Ship date. So what is the max date is January 5th, 2018. It will not take January 5th, 2018. It will take only what? 2018. 2018 till where? 31st December 2008. It need a complete date range. That complete year dates required. If you go and check dim data and if you go to the last date, what might be the last date? 31st December 2018. How you are getting this? We understand, right? So calendar auto function will do like this. Now tell me, I'll go and bring one more table into the Power Pivot model called date table. When sorry, or else EMP table. When I go and bring the EMP table, will the date ranges in the dim date table will change or will it remain same? I'll just go and bring EMP table from the source here. When I go and bring the EMP table from the source, will the date range change in the dim date table or will it remain same? Change. Why it will change? uh, because of which column the date range will change. Now when I see previously you have date from 1st Jan 2014. 1st Jan where? 2014. Now you have date from where? 1st Jan 1980. What column is causing to change this date? Which date column? In EMP table there is a date column called what? High date. There is a date column called what? High date. In the high date, what is the least date you have? December 17, 1980. It will not take December 17, 1980. It will take only 1980. For that it will give from starting, right? Like this, if I go and delete this EMP table, will the date range again change or will it remain same? Change. No doubt it will change. Now tell me, in the orders table I'll add a new record here. That new record date is what? 2027. When I go and bring this new data to this orders table, will the date range in the orders table will date table will change or remain same? Change. Now will it show the data in the visual or not? Yes, it will show 2027 data also, right? So like this, there are two functions to create a date table. One is what? Calendar. Second one is what? Calendar. If you know that that reports will be used for a fixed time period, you can better to go with what? Calendar. If you don't know till how long you will use it, you can go with what? Calendar auto. Hmm. Next one, we understand calendar function and calendar auto function, guys. Now here you are showing year wise sales. In order to show year wise sales, I can just go and drag the year from dim date table and sales from orders table. You are showing the year wise sales. Okay, let me remove this record. I don't want this. Save this. If you want to get that latest data, what you need to do? Click on refresh. Now the requirement. Now you are showing 2014 sales is this. So 2014, what might be the start date means? Starting from 1st Jan 2014 to 31st December 2014. This is the sales value. This is calendar year or financial year? Calendar year. Currently we are showing year wise sales based on what? Calendar year. Sometimes clients will ask us to show year-wise sales based on the financial year. Based on what? Financial year. How to show year-wise sales based on financial year here? Sometimes clients will ask us to show a fiscal year or financial year, fiscal year or financial year data. So calendar year, see now currently we are in which calendar year? Calendar year 2023. 2023. Calendar year 2023. So calendar year 2023 start date and end date is what? 1st Jan 2023 to 31st December 2023. We call it as calendar year 2023. So now currently we are in which financial year? Which financial year we are currently? 20 2023 currently. So 2023 financial year start date is what? 1st April 1st April 2022 to 31st March 2023 comes under which financial year? 2023. 2023. So tell me, financial year 2016, what is the date range? Financial year 2016, what is the date range? 1st April 2020, 2015 to 31st March 2016 comes under which financial year? 2016. Now, currently, whatever you are showing here is calendar year 2014 sales, calendar year 2015 sales. Client is asking to show 2015 financial year sales, 2016 financial year sales. They are asking to show here. How to show that financial year sales is? You need to derive here financial year. You derived what here? You derived a year. To derive the year, which function you used? Year function. That year function will give the calendar year. Which year it will give? Calendar year. When you use that year column here, it will show calendar year wise sales. When your client is asking to show financial year wise sales, you need to derive in the date table financial year. How to derive the financial year is, to derive the financial year, first you need to derive the month column. From the date, how to derive the month number column is, select the dim date column. For every row I need one value. Click on what? New column. I'll just go and derive month number. Guess what I'll derive? Month number. To get the month number, there is a DAX function with the name called what? Month. From which column I need to derive the month is dim date of date. When I derive the month, you will get the month, guys. Fine. Using this month number column, you can derive the financial year easily. So here, what we observed is, from April month to December month, starting from April month till December month, you need to take the current year. To the current year, you need to add +1. To the current year, you need to add +1. From January, February, March, you need to take the same year and you need to show it. How to calculate financial year? Getting the point? In order to calculate the financial year, from April month to December month, you need to take the current year plus what? 1. January, February, March, you need to take the same year and you need to show it. You need to write the formula in such a way. April to December, take the year, add 1 and show it. Then it will comes under what year? Financial year. So if you take the same year, it comes under where? Calendar year. If you take the year, if you add +1, then it will comes under where? Financial year. April month to December month, you need to take the current year, you need to add +1, then it will comes under where? Financial year. January, February, March, you need to take the same year and you need to show it. That is the financial year formula. You need to write some, when I go and directly write it, you'll get which year? Calendar year. I want a financial year. How to derive the financial year is, for every row I need one value. Again, click on new column. To derive the financial year, simple formula, financial FY financial year. To derive it, the formula is, if month number, I derived the month number is less than or equal to 3. Less than or equal to 3 means January, February, March. When it is less than or equal to 3, you need to take the same year. You need to take what? Same year. You already derived the year, take the same year. When this condition is false, you need to take year plus 1. What you need to do? Year plus 1. When I go and run this, you'll get the financial year, guys. Right? So less than or equal to 3 means January, February, March. Take the same year. From April to December, year plus 1. Now tell me, there is a date called uh, 15th April 2015, 2014. 15th April 2014 will comes under which calendar year? 2014 calendar year. Comes under which financial year? Is it showing correctly here? Yes. This is the simple logic you need to write to derive what? Financial year. Now, if you want to show financial year by sales, take one visual. Go to the date table, drag which column? Financial year. Drag which column now? Sales. Now you are seeing 2015 sales. This 2015 sales date range is what? What is the start date for this? First April 2014 to 31st March 2015. This is the date range for this. Okay, let's see whether we check this value, whether it is correct or not. Let me check it. I can take one card visual. In the card visual, I'll drag the sales column. I'll filter this sales column based on order date. So I want only the orders 2015 financial year. 2015 financial year means go to advanced filtering. So what is the start date for 2015? Is on or after? What is the data? Which year I need to go? 14. Which month? April 1st. Starting from this and is on or before. What is the end date? Hmm. Which year? 2015. What? March 31st. Starting from 1st April 2014 to 31st March 2015 comes under which financial year? 2015 financial year. Let me show this number completely. Select this visual, go to format, call out value, go and select what here? None. Now just go and check these two numbers whether they are same or not. Same or not? Yes. So what is the date range here? For 2015 financial year, this is this. What is the date range? Starting from April 1st, 2014 to 31st March 2015 comes under 2015 financial year. You are showing the sales. Like this, you need to derive the financial year and you need to show the sales. Right. Now my client is asking to show calendar year wise, calendar quarter wise sales. My client is asking to show calendar year wise, calendar quarter wise sales. Do you have quarter column in the dim date table? We don't have it. We need to derive the quarter column. In order to derive the quarter column, there is a DAX function with the name called, we discussed here. Next one is what? Quarter. There is a DAX function with the name quarter here. So how to derive the quarter is click on new column, go and add quarter. So to derive the quarter function is there. From which column you need to derive the quarter is date. You pass the dim underscore date. It will give the number. It will give the calendar quarter. It will give calendar quarter. Instead of having number, better to concatenate QTR there. How to concatenate QTR there? Ampersand. Text concatenation operator called what? Ampersand. Now you got quarter number. So it is QTR1 means which months it will take? Jan, Feb, March. It will give calendar quarter. So QTR2 means for which months it will give QTR2? April, May, June. Now, in order to show calendar year wise, calendar quarter wise sales, you can drag like this. Now, you are showing 2014 Q1 sales. That means what is the start date for this? 1st Jan 2014 to 31st March 2014. This is the sales value. So sometimes instead of showing calendar year wise, quarter wise sales, they will ask us to show financial year wise, quarter wise sales. Financial year Q1, what is the sales? Now tell me 2014 financial year Q1, what is the sales? What is the date range? 2014 financial year, uh, 1st April to 1st April 2013 to April, May, June. June 31st June 2013 comes under which financial year? 2014 what? Q1. So whenever we need to show this financial year quarter wise sales, again you need to write a different formula to derive the quarter. See, to derive the financial year, you written some formula, right? In same way, you need to frame one formula to derive what? Financial quarter. How to derive the financial quarter is, we know that financial quarter Q1 is fourth month, fifth month, sixth month. Financial quarter Q2 is seventh, eighth, ninth. Financial quarter Q3 is 10, 11, 12. Financial quarter Q4 is 1, 2, 3. You need to write one DAX formula in such a way to get this result, guys. How to write the DAX formula is, select the dim date. For every row I need one value, click on new column. So what we are going to derive is financial quarter here. Financial quarter. How to derive the financial quarter here is, so you want to check multiple conditions based on month. Whenever we need to check multiple conditions, which DAX function will use? Switch. Which DAX function will use is switch. Switch. I want to check the conditions other than equal to. What you need to write? True. Switch. True. So first condition is, if month number is less than or equal to 3, that means January, February, March. When this condition is true, which quarter? Quarter 4. Quarter 4. Second condition is, month number is less than or equal to 6. Less than or equal to 6. Then it comes under which quarter? QTR 1. So if it is less than or equal to 3, here itself you will get it, it will stop. If this condition is false, then only it will come here and it will check it. You can write it less than or equal to 6, you can write it as what? QTR 1. Then another condition I'll write is, month number is less than or equal to 9. Less than or equal to 9. Then which quarter? QTR 2. You can go and write what now? Else. Only one value is remaining. You can go and write what here? QTR 3. Just close the bracket, run the formula. Will you get financial quarter now? 100% you'll get it. Now tell me, there is a date range called, date value called 14th April. 14th April will comes under which calendar quarter? Quarter 2 calendar. Financial quarter means quarter 1. Is it correct or not? Yes. Now what I can do is, I can, in order to show financial year wise, quarter wise sales, you can just go and drag financial year, financial quarter, and sales. You can have this two visuals side by side. You can even have this two visuals side by side. You can compare the values. Now this is calendar year, calendar quarter sales. So this is financial year, financial quarter sales. 2015 Q4 sales is this. It is equivalent to calendar year what date? 2015 Q4 financial year in the calendar year what range? This range is, tell me first, 2015 Q4 date range is what? Financial year 2015 Q4 date range is what? First Jan 2015 to 31st March 2015. This is the date range for what? 2015 Q4. This date range will comes under calendar year, calendar quarter. Which one? Which one? 2015 Q1. You go and compare this value with 2015 Q1. Is the both values same? This value and this value same? Yes or no? Yes. Now you are showing here what? Financial year, financial quarter. So this date range comes under this financial year 2015 Q4. 2015, this date range calendar year means 2015 Q1. 2015 Q1 is same number. Here same number. You are showing financial year quarter wise sales. Sorry, calendar year quarter wise sales, financial year quarter wise sales. Like this. For some reasons, if your client is asking to show calendar year wise data, directly year. Calendar quarter data, directly quarter. For some reasons, if your client is asking to show financial year, you need to write a simple override formula. It's not a complicated one. Already we know if function how it will work. Already we know how switch function will work. Right, guys. So we discussed today about few functions. One important thing we discussed about is, what is the importance of date dimension table. Second thing we discussed about what? Calendar. So while using the calendar function, we use a function called what? Date. The next thing we discussed about is what? Calendar auto. Then we discussed about year function, quarter function. So even month function also we discussed. So we discussed financial year. So some people year will start at June also. then your formula will change. Only difference is what? If your company financial year is starting from June, the formula which you are going to write will change. Yes or no? Yes. So this formula also will change. You need to frame the formula based on your accounting year. Company to company, their start date. So if you say educational institutions, they will start from one date and end from one date. If you see some food industries, they will start from January to December. So companies to company, it will change, right? So based on that, you need to write the formulas. We understand how to derive them, right? So I'll stop here. So we'll discuss from here in tomorrow's class. In tomorrow's class also completely we'll discuss about remaining date and time functions. So in the date table, remaining columns also required here, like month name, day name, week of the month, week of the year. That columns you need to derive. How to derive all that columns we'll see in the tomorrow's class. Let me stop here. Anybody have any questions from today's class? Or else we'll do one thing. Just wait. Just wait. I'll do one thing. I'll share one extra video today. That extra video will explain about the remaining functions. If you go through them, they are simple functions. So in order to derive weekday, week number, so they other functions are there. They are simple functions. Along with today's class, you'll get one extra video. That extra video will explain about the remaining functions. Okay, you please watch that extra video and you to try to understand the remaining functions. Today you'll get how many videos? Two videos. Whatever I discussed today, you'll get one video. You will get another video which will explain about the remaining functions what we have here. Let me stop here. We'll discuss from here in tomorrow's class. Guys. Anybody have any questions? Any questions? Unmute. If you have any questions, please unmute yourself, guys. If you don't have any questions, we can stop here. Thank you. See you in tomorrow's class.